cooperation with the Syrian Air Force, Russian fighter jets carry out a series of airstrikes on ISIL targets in Deir Hafer, Al-Bab and Palmyra. On the 42nd anniversary of the October War of Liberation, the Syrian Army commemorates the October War victory with determination to defeat terrorism. Yemeni Army and People's Committees target the residence of the resigned Prime Minister and the Emirati Military Command's headquarters in Aden. Good afternoon, this is news in English from the Syrian Arab Television in Damascus. A military source in the command of the Syrian army has affirmed the destruction of a weapons and ammunition warehouse and scores of vehicles belonging to the terrorist organizations during airstrikes carried out by the Russian fighter jets in cooperation with the Syrian Air Force on terrorist sites in Homs, Latakia, Idlib and Aleppo. In Talbisa, in Homs countryside in central Syria, a weapons warehouse and the command and communication headquarters were destroyed, and terrorist hideouts were demolished in Beit Zifa, Ad-Dara and Al-Rayhaniyah in Latakia countryside. A training camp, a missiles launching podium and an ammunition warehouse were destroyed in Jisr al-Shuhur, and an artillery base and 30 cars including armored vehicles were also destroyed in the woods area in Idlib countryside. Meanwhile, 15 jets, sorties on 10 terrorist sites led to the destruction of a command center belonging to ISIL in the outskirts of Aleppo. In Homs and in cooperation with inhabitants, the specialized authorities dismantled 2 booby-trapped cars carrying 700 kilograms of highly explosive materials in the governorate's southern eastern countryside. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova has dismissed as untrue allegations circulated by some foreign news media on civilian casualties in Syria caused by Russian airstrikes. Immediately upon the declaration of the Russian Federation's Council decision on the raids to be launched against ISIL, she said the internet abundant with children killed and torn apart. They alleged, she added, that this was the result of the Russian airstrikes. Pictures appeared on the American and Canadian main channels on which was written, "Is Russia really striking ISIL?" Zakharova said such propaganda would only lead people to suspect Russia's integrity and make them feel unconfident. The Syrian people commemorate the 42nd anniversary of the glorious October War of Liberation with mounting confidence in their army and the victory they will achieve over the terrorists and their supporters, strengthening further their deep cohesion among themselves and their solid stand behind their army and wise leadership. On the other hand, Syrian Arab Army units targeted terrorists in Al-Rastan, Qasim and Al-Ghajal in Homs countryside, leaving many of them dead or wounded and destroying their weapons. In Qunaytira countryside, a Syrian Arab Army unit destroyed anti-aircraft guns and machine guns and eliminated a number of ISIL terrorists in Taranja village. The army also intercepted an attack by Nusra terrorist groups who came from Binjan in the direction of the village of Hadar, killing and wounding many of the extremist organization's members and destroying their weapons and equipment. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign and Expatriates Minister Walid al-Muallim has said that Russian airstrikes in Syria have been prepared for months ago. He pointed out that Russia coordinates with the Syrian Arab Army, which is the only side in Syria that fights terrorism. In an interview with Al Mayadeen channel, Al-Muallim said Moscow has worked earnestly to set up an information center in Iraq that comprises Syria, Iraq, Russia and Iran, adding that the center will be crucial in exchanging information. Al-Muallim pointed out that the direct efficiency of the Russian air raids appeared immediately 2 days after they had started, whereas the West's coalition's air raids have been going on for more than a year without leaving any effective impact, which indicates the inefficiency of what the US has been doing. The Russian President's Special Envoy for Mid-Eastern and African Countries Affairs, Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Bogdanov, has said that his country respects the sovereignty of the Syrian state and opposes the establishment of a no-fly zone over its territories. In Iraq, 57 people at least were killed and dozens of others were injured in a series of car bomb blasts that targeted Baghdad, Basra and Diyala. The fiercest blast took place near a crowded market in the town of Al-Khalis, east of Diyala, killing 35 people and injuring 74 others. Another car bomb exploded near a crowded market in the Zubair town, southeast of Al-Basra, killing at least 10 people and injuring others. A third car bomb went off in Al-Husayniyah area in the northern outskirts of Baghdad, killing at least 12 people and injuring 17 others. In Yemen, the People's Committees targeted the residential headquarters of the resigned Prime Minister Khalid Bahah by several missiles. Flames were seen ignited in the hotel where Bahah and the resigned cabinet members were residing in, as injuries and victims were reported. Meanwhile, 18 people were killed, most of them Emirati soldiers, in a missile attack that targeted the headquarters of the Emirati military command in Aden. For its part, the command of the Yemeni army rejected as untrue the allegations circulated by media close to Al Saud that the Saudi forces control of Bab al-Mandeb or any other site that might pose a threat to the Yemeni military strategy. With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our Facebook page, Syria TV channels. You may also watch the Syrian satellite channel live on YouTube. Now over to the latest business and market news with Razan after a short break.
Good afternoon. Under the patronage of the Ministry of Electricity and the Syrian Chambers of Commerce Federation, the first exhibition of the renewable energy organized by the Syrian Marketing Establishment will be held between the 19th and the 21st of October 2015 at Damaros Hotel in Damascus. This exhibition is considered the first and the biggest event that gathers energy companies in the housing, agricultural, industrial and medical sectors. About 35 companies specialized in water technology, power energy, heating, ventilation and conditioning will be participated in the exhibition. The amounts of cottons received in Al-Walid, Al-Fida, Al-Asi and Salami regions reached 13,000 tons, which have been exported from Al-Raqqa Governorate to Homs and Hama Governorates. Earlier, the General Company for Cotton Ginning and Marketing has signed a contract with a company specialized in transporting and exporting the cotton crops from Al-Raqqa Governorate to the gins of Homs and Hama. Russia's oil production set a new record after registering more than 10 million barrels a day last month. The gains of Russian energy companies rose as these companies export oil derivatives outside the country, sell them in the US dollar and pay in the ruble, which boosted the competitive capability of exporting companies in Russia, whereas the futures of the crude oil rose in the markets after Russia said it would meet with the oil producers to discuss the situation in the international oil market. Gold advanced to near the highest level in a week as the chances of a US rate rise this year receded. Gold has fluctuated since dropping to a 5-year low in July as investors have attempted to gauge the likelihood of higher US borrowing costs this year. European shares fell, following strong gains in the previous session, with Germany underperforming after reporting expectedly fell in August after gains in Asian and US shares, as investors bet that the US Federal Reserve would delay an interest rate rise into next year. Asian shares extended gains for a second consecutive session, while gains were kept in check by lingering concerns over a China-led global economic slowdown. Now over to some main currencies exchange rates according to the bulletin of the Central Bank of Syria. With this, we conclude our economic news for today. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.